we were where we were connecting with them. I knew we knew we were making a show that starred two characters that were
I was living the misfit life.
A couple of misfits.
I was
I was living the Danzig life at that point.
We made a show that we thought was funny and sweet, that just was really reflective of our childhoods, and we just happened to find these two clowns to perfectly portray the sensibility that we wanted the show to have. So it was we were thrilled that it appealed to a certain kind of kid that probably wasn't getting programmed to as much as other kinds of kids. So yeah, we were very proud that it was beloved by misfits and nerds everywhere.
There's a story that Chris and Will tell sometimes about the focus group and the one kid who was your hero, and that I think encapsulates who Pete and Pete was for, even if we didn't know who we were making it for at the time.
Yeah.
If you remember a little bit.
Sure, we were at a focus group and there was about 20 kids, and they watched a couple episodes. And most of the kids, there was one like alpha girl in the room, she just hated the show. So she was so against it that all the other kids in the room were just completely quiet. You know, when the moderator was asking who liked the show, no one raised their hand. And there was one kid, he was sitting there, you could tell he loved it, and his like shirt was misbuttoned and his hair was all over the place and he had wrong colored socks on. And we were just behind the glass like, come on kid, raise your hand. Yeah. He didn't raise his hand.
No.
But we knew in that moment that all those other kids may not like it, but that kid loved it, and we figured as long as we connect with that kid, we'll be okay.
That's our kid.
And that's who we made I think that's who we ended up making the show for, even if we didn't know it.
Yeah, exactly.
He did watch all the episodes. I know. We've been in contact since. Yeah.
It seems like there's such a fandom for Pete and Pete too. I mean, talk about that a little bit. Were you guys when did you become aware of that?
I became aware of it while we were shooting because I was in middle school and all of the kids that I went to school with were watching it, and I was like, wow, all these people watch the show, but you know, we're still not friends yet. Still had trouble making friends.
Yeah. And it's been a fandom.
Just a friend you haven't met. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met.
Thanks,
you know
Mike.
that, right?
Awesome.
And it seems like the fandom is, I mean, there's been staying power. So many people, you guys, I mean,
It's
meet up and
25
have these
plus years old.
reunions and-
Yeah. Because once you're a misfit, you're always a misfit. And we always love the show.
We were lucky enough to have cool fans who, you know, took care of themselves and stayed healthy, and now they're all having kids and naming their kids funny things, and you know, trying to get their kids plaid hats and tattoos. And
It is cool to see people that grew up watching the show who are now adults and have families who are now introducing the show to their kids.
it feels a little.
I think that's a really cool thing that I've noticed.
It feels a little different than 30 years ago, or when the parents were like, "Hey, what is that?" And then they got into it. Now we have parents who have experienced the show and are saying to the kids, "You have to watch this."
That's a payphone, kids.
The other thing that I think is so just kind of brilliant about Pete and Pete is there's not vampires on the show, or I mean, Artie might have superpowers. We're not sure.
Yeah. Oh no, he has superpowers. Please. It's
Okay.
true.
All right.
There's not evil villains. I feel like we still had evil villains on the show that had superpowers, but I feel like between the brothers, Artie, Ellen, Nona, and like the bunch, I think we always found a way to defeat whatever supervillain that was, whether it was like sleep when they were staying up all night, or to find the source of the ringing phone,
or an evil principal.
To defeat the principal.
Like it was so familiar, and you didn't have to go into an alternative universe or anything. No. Just kind of, there was enough mystery and adventure just in the day-to-day life of Pete and Pete.
Well, I will say I don't know anyone that had the paper cutting mache origami. The word is origami. I didn't know anyone that had a talent like that, but Paper Cut did, and he was very good at he was very lethal.
Did you have a favorite episode that you shot, or anything that stands out like that?
Halloween-y is fresh in my mind right now. That was a really fun episode, and also about sort of a kid being on the real cusp between being a kid and growing up. That's why it was important to me. And also getting to throw eggs at people while I was off camera. I was right off camera throwing eggs at Jim.
Did you? Anything that stands out?
Well, the last episode of the first season was called Hard Days Pete, and it was about me hearing a band playing a song and then trying to remember that song and try to play it myself. And I play music now, and that was a very like pivotal moment for me in terms of wanting to be a musician and getting the music bug. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, speaking of music, I mean, the array of artists you guys had on, crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize when I was little, I rewatched a few. I mean, LL Cool J is a teacher there, and you had like Iggy Pop on. I mean, how is that possible?
I think we had Catherine Diekman, who was our main director of the show. She was very big in the indie music world, so she knew a fair amount of those people. And then, the truth is that those folks got to see some episodes, and they just realized how unique and weird and wonderful it was. And they realized, I want to be a part of this. And they were every single one of them was really fantastic. There wasn't any guest star that came with an attitude. They just came ready to work and have fun and fool around for half a day or a couple days. Or somebody like Iggy Pop was there for one day, but then he wanted to come back the next day. And we brought him back and gave him more stuff to do.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience. It was really profound and was thrilling for Will and I as fans of these musicians. And you guys didn't necessarily even know who they were at the time. Some of them, some yes.
Some yes, some no. My dad gave me a crash course in who Iggy Pop was a couple days before he came to set, and then I was hooked.
Chris, Will, and Catherine all made us mixtapes when we were younger that really kind of opened us up to a lot of the cool music that we hadn't heard of, stuff that was on the show, stuff that ended up on the show later. It was very essential to sort of opening up our musical heads.
Man, that's awesome. Did you guys keep the mixtapes?
I have the
mixtape.
mixtape
Do you
still.
really?
Still have the mixtape.
There's one in
amazing.
particular that was called Suck Chowder Jerkweed. It has the replacements on it, Billy Bragg, it has Squeeze. My mom was like, Billy Bragg, I don't know, you should be listening to this. Sure. You're like, you're 9 or 10 years old. I don't know if you're ready for this yet. But I was ready.
Nice.